Right.
I feel like we all should have the same goal,
Yeah.
and that is for everyone to reach their peak life, man.
And
Like,
that's
just be successful. Like, it's not just about selling houses, and that's the biggest problem in our industry.
Yeah, and that's the feel, from
good.
seeing the different agencies, the brokerages. That's the difference. It's an open door, open book, and it's here. Try this.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Your Peak Life podcast. Let's conquer the summit of life and reach the apex of our potential.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Your Peak Life podcast. Our guest today is Jason Dunaway. Jason, how you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I am fantastic. So we're going to dive right in. First questions really is just tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the industry, personal, professional background, how you ended up in real estate, anything like that.
Been in real estate a little bit over 3 years. Been around real estate pretty much my whole life. My mom was a closing attorney.
Okay.
So got into, she was, she worked for Bass Knight Kinzer for, 20 some years.
Wow.
So been around that part of it. My dad, my uncle, granddaddy, all of them's been in the building industry for their whole life. So
family of builders and
kind of grew up around it. Anytime I got in trouble in high school, I got stuck out on the building site, building decks. Never really got to build it. I always had to do the one shoveling all the sand, moving the sand.
the grunt work.
The grunt work, yeah, exactly. So I didn't really want to do that once I got out of high school. I didn't want to go that route, so I joined the military. Did 4 years in the Army.
Okay.
Got out of the Army.
You joined there out of Virginia? You originally from here?
Yeah, I'm from Virginia. Okay. Yep, Chesapeake. So I got out of the, went in the Army, did 4 years there, got out, ended up having a kid, and I was out doing siding work. I started a vinyl siding company. A little bit different than the building part of it, but got in the siding business a little bit. And one day, the guy that my dad did all the trim work for rode through it, and he was like, "Hey, your dad told me you had a kid. You ain't gonna be able to pay for a kid doing vinyl siding work. So you want to come? You want to come be a superintendent for me?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'll give it a try." So
Nice.
I did that for about 14 years, and then
Just as overlooking jobs?
Moved all the way up to project manager, head superintendent, did some high-end stuff down here at the beach. And then my mom, the whole time, she was like, "Hey, you need to get on the real estate side. So I was like, "Okay, cool deal." Not really. I'd rather deal with guys on the job site than deal with, because that's the hardest part of being a superintendent, is always bringing in the buyer side, dealing with the buyer side and having to put emotions and stuff in it when you're building out.
You got a whole pool of buyer sides now, boy. You just throw something in the group.
Right. So now it's just, so that was the hard part of wanting to get into the real estate side, because that was the hardest part of the building side, was getting the buyers involved in the emotions and stuff. I'd rather just build houses and be done with it.
Do you think it's helped you though? Like as far
as...
Yeah,
it's helped me understand construction for one, but it's also, I got to see that part of it when they were buying houses. So it kind of helped me understand what they're going through and how to deal with it now on the real estate side.
Absolutely. So you have the perspective of all parties involved.
Yeah, all of it, the whole 360 of it. So long story short, I got into that and got out of it and started doing the buildings, got into sales, the material side of the construction part, because that was a little bit easier, a little bit more money involved as well. And then when 2020 hit, my mom was still selling or closing houses, and then she got sick. And one of her last things was that she told me before she passed was I want you to get into real estate. We were sitting in the hospital the night before she passed, and she looked straight at me, dead ass in my face, and was like, "Hey, what are you gonna do with your life?" And I was like, "I don't know, Mom. What do you want me to do? I mean, going through a divorce, going through this. Really, I didn't know. I was kind of like at crossroads." And she was like, "Well, I've told you I wanted you to get in real estate." I was like, okay. So COVID hit. I was sitting at home, nothing to do, couldn't go nowhere.
Why not get your license?
And why not get my license? And so that's how it all came about. So
nice. Well, the next question is, you got the real estate license, so now you go on a real estate journey, right? So really what we've been asking people is, how'd you end up at Iron Valley? Is this your first firm? What's the experience difference? And you don't have to mention names or anything like that. I'm just trying to gauge really where our industry is,
right,
and why people are making the decisions that they're making.
So I started out. I had an agent that was my site was my site agent for about 7 years at a particular firm. So automatically I gravitated that way.
Okay.
Which was great at the time. Got a lot of training, and then all of a sudden, the little jingle that everybody heard that kind of drew my attention when, just being in the business, they were offering a lot of training and different stuff. So I kind of went over there, and that's where I met Edgar and a couple other people that are over here.
So you were at a firm with Edgar before being here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Had some conversations, or not Edgar, but Edwin.
Edwin? Okay.
I was with Edwin. Sorry.
I got you. No worries.
So I was with
People
Edwin.
confuse them every day. Ask him, look. He's like,
So I was with Edwin, and we kind of hit it all pretty well there. And then
he's got good energy, man.
I ended up having a closing with one of the attorneys that was real close with my mom. And she was like, hey, I know you where you are, but I think you would have a better fit. We grew up together, and she was like, I think you'd have a better fit with this other firm. Can you give them a call and talk to them? So I did. And I went there, and I enjoyed it, and I learned a lot, and I learned from probably one of the best people in the business in this area, all the way. Because my future is in the investment part, and he's heavy in investment and rental properties and stuff. So I learned a lot of that part of it from him. And then, but I kept drawing back to Edwin. So I met with Edwin. I actually came over here, met with Edwin, met Edgar in the office one day, met Eric, and then I don't know, something just didn't jive at the time. So I resorted and went back to the agent that I was with for 7 years under her directly. And I was promised a lot to get into new construction because new construction is my deal.
Yeah.
That's my wheelhouse. And that didn't pan out. So I actually called up the broker that I was with before, and I was like, hey, will you take me back and blah, 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 because they're a team. And he was like, yeah, sure, come on back. And at that time, I had a new construction builder along with me. So I was actually bringing business,
right.
But just something back in my heart, back in my mind didn't fit right. So I called Edwin one day, and I was like, hey, man, I need to make this move. And we just hit it off, and he told me, go meet Andy. He's like, look, man, go talk to Andy. You done talk to me. You done wasted my time. Go talk to Andy. So I went and met with Andy, man, and this has been the best move I've ever made in my life, business-wise. Just the culture, the leadership team, the training, the atmosphere, the energy. People ask me all the time, why are you over there? It's crowded with some of the top agents, but it's competition. It's friendly competition that wants you to be better, and that's the only way you get better.
And what those people don't see is all those people actually help each other.
Yeah.
It's not like other firms where you're looking for, how do I figure it out? And then everybody's got their nose in the air. No, those guys doing 15, 20 million a year, they'll give you the playbook.
Yeah.
You just have to do the work.
Yeah.
It's transparent as we could be. Like, well, you just sat in a room for 8 weeks. We gave you all 30 years of game wrapped up in a gift box.
Right.
It's like, all you have to do is use it.
And that was the day. Like, when I met with Andy, he basically opened up, this is what I do. This is how I do it here.
And we all do it different.
And and it's just a friendly competition that drives to want to be better.
I just want everybody to win, man, at the end of the day, Well, those are all great things to hear. Obviously, those guys are in a leadership position at the firm for a reason.
Yeah.
they're good at what they do, they all have a lot to do with why I am where I am. You know, I took little bits and pieces and learning points from everybody along the way. I just had the broker's license before people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like I don't feel like that's a special thing.
Right.
I feel like we all should have the same goal,
Yeah.
and that is for everyone to reach their peak life, man.
And
like
that's
just be successful. Like it's not just about selling houses, and that's the biggest problem in our industry.
Yeah, and that's the feel, you know, from
good.
seeing the different agencies, the brokerages. That's the difference. You know, it's an open door, open book, and it's here. Try this.
Yeah.
You know,
And the staff and the support. I mean, we've hired well. We have good people in place. You know, so. Moving on from that one, man, the next question we ask people, because I don't want this to be just about real estate, right? I want it to be about life in general. So we've been asking everybody, what does life look like for Jason in 5 years, like holistically?
ultimately, I want to be. I've lived here my whole life, and when my mom passed, I always had a thing that I was getting away from here. So within the next 5 years, I want to be probably up in the Pennsylvania area.
Oh, really? Well, there's a few Iron Valleys there.
Exactly, and that's actually would help the transition to that. I mean, but that's my ultimate goal, is to be up there. But 5 years, I want to start working in the next year.
Where at in Pennsylvania?
Lancaster County.
Oh, wow. Perfect.
Yep. So that's
Adam, Rob, Corey, Lisa, Jason, I see you. He's going to be up here in a few years.
So that's my goal in 5 years, within 5 years. But
You want to carry your career up there?
Yeah. I help a lot of Amish now. I do a lot of business with Amish.
Well, that's a niche market.
They are moving to the Farmville area. Heavy. They've started a settlement in Farmville. So
Okay.
kind of right now, I'm not really helping them on the real estate side. I'm more helping them on the transportation side. So I go pick them up in Farmville, take them to Pennsylvania, or vice versa. Pick them up in Pennsylvania, bring them to Farmville. So
How do you get into that hustle? What? Wait a minute. This is like a whole nother episode.
long story short, man, when COVID hit, Amish were the only ones that were kind of still open for business.
Okay.
So we like to travel. Me and my wife like to travel, so we went to Amish country. We ended up, she said, hey, I got you a vacation. We're going to Amish country. We went up there on a quick visit, and I fell in love with it. Just the peacefulness of it.
That's
She
cool.
was like, hey, we're going to go stay on the Amish farm. And I'm like, I ain't staying on the Amish farm. I need my phone. I need electricity. She was like, no, we're staying in their guest house on their farm. They have solar power. I'm like, okay. And, so we got up there, and I'm like, okay, but they ain't got AC, and it's 100 degrees.
Yeah.
So we opened the windows, stayed in there, and they actually had solar panels. I was able to use my phone and everything. But long story short, we ended up becoming really good friends with this family that we met on their farm.
Wow. This just sounds like a movie.
So I actually took her. She ended up having to have surgery. So I drove them to Colorado last year because they don't fly.
Okay.
So I took her and her family to Colorado. She had surgery, brought them back. And actually now when we go up there, we don't even stay in the guest house. We stay in their personal house. So, so it's been a joyride.
So you're moving to PA. I like it.
But 5 years as well. I mean, I've got my contractor's license, so I eventually want to build some houses to help financially make that move a little bit easier.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So,
Well, hopefully we're giving you one of them lots real quick.
we're working on it.
I'm just saying.
We're working on it.
That's another thing here. People see, it's, they think it's saturated with top producers. Well, isn't that who you want to be around?
Yeah.
We're the ones wheeling and dealing. We're the ones with the ear in the street to have. We know that lot's coming. We know that off market deal is coming. We know what new construction's coming. Like, don't you want to be in that room? That doesn't make any sense to me. But if you want to be mediocre, I mean,
if you look back in history, I mean, being in the rooms where you want to be, all the way back
100%.
to Alexander Hamilton and Burr, you want to be in the room. I mean, they made a,
and that's a big thing. Like, people asked, or even Andy himself was shocked when I hired a coach. Like, Mike hired a coach? Like, yeah, man, I don't know everything. I'm smart enough to know that I need somebody to guide me too.
right.
And because of putting myself in that room, and then Andy being engaged and our coaches pushing us, boom, came a training program, then came a podcast, now you mix them all together. Like, being in the room is the answer.
Right.
That's why I'm going to another one in January.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
if it's changing your life for the better,
yeah,
why wouldn't you do it?
yeah, that's the same thing.
Because you're not comfortable, That's most people's problem.
That's the same thing with coaching wrestling. Like, I coach wrestling, and I mean, to get better, you got to wrestle better kids. So you got to be around better people.
Yeah, you're going to take some L's, right?
Yeah, you're going to take L's, but that's the joy of it.
Yeah. So from that, the biggest thing, not the biggest thing, but probably, we talk about 5 years from now, what you want. So let's dive into what your definition of your peak life is.
My peak life is growing up the way I grew up. I've been in direct sales and kind of knew, the why, purpose, that kind of stuff, but it was always very shallow until the first training that we had with Peak Performance, and you kind of told us about that book and really dig into why. So I did. I took that to heart and really dug in.
You did the exercise? You did the Dean Graziosi seven levels why?
7 levels of why.
It's in the Millionaire Success Habits book.
And when you dig into that and you start crying and you start realizing, hey, what your true why is, it'll kind of elevate your peak life to get there. And when I realized that, hey, I grew up in a life where I rode around in the car trying to hide my face because my mom had bungee cords holding the doors shut.
Right.
I don't ever want my kids to ever have to experience that, as well as the kids that I mentor and the kids that I adopt and the kids that I push every day to be better.
Yeah.
So I guess my peak life would be being able to provide them a lifestyle that they never have to go through that, or the lifestyle that they're currently living in. They can find a way out of it, and I can be the one to help them and guide them.
So basically impacting the lives of others.
Impacting the lives of others.
I like it, man. I like it.
That's my peak life. That's what I see is, it's not about me. It's about making others better.
I think the sooner people realize that, the sooner they'll win.
Yeah.
Like another piece to the secret over here.
Right.
Having that mentality. I know that the more people I help, the better my life is.
Right.
Are there some people that take advantage, or people that don't appreciate it, or people that maybe leave and then regret it because they were surrounded by quality humans? Sure. Yeah. But I'm not going to take that personal because I don't have time for that. Yeah. People can do whatever they want. I know what we're doing and what we offer and how we treat people, and we're not going nowhere. Right.
Yeah. I mean, me and you've talked about Les Brown and stuff, and I told you that, I spoke with Les Brown.
That's awesome.
One of the things that really resonated with me when I did speak to him and heard him speak was, he was like, no matter how bad your day is and when you think it's the worst day that you're having, go help somebody. Go help somebody on your worst day.
Yeah, how good that makes you feel?
Yep. It's
like
the
$1 million
ultimate, it just takes care of all your problems.
It's called humanity.
Yep.
It's like Mother Nature's medicine.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and then we switched it up. Typically when people come on, they get like a bank of questions to review or what have you. But I've been slipping one in there that we're not like giving people a heads up on. So what we've been saying is there anything that you want to ask me put me in a hot seat for a second because I sit here and ask people questions all the time, you know?
Right.
So we've just been kind of spinning it back, and there's been some good ones. So is there anything you want to ask me that's maybe come to mind recently?
I mean, I admire, and it's actually just being around you and seeing what you've done here and the people that you put in place is, very admirable. If I had to ask you one question is, how the hell do you fit so much into your one day? Because you're up at 4 o'clock and you're out at 10 o'clock. And I mean, just.
So leverage. That's the answer. You just, honestly, you just kind of answered it. You said the people in place.
Right.
And I don't get to do everything I do in a day if I don't have Lori Serrano as a director of operations, or Eric Edwards in Red Mill, or Edgar Munoz in the Bendix office, or Edwin Rodriguez in Newport News, or Andy Nelson in Chesapeake. Like, I got an all-star roster, man.
Right.
That's the key component, and all of those people wake up and go hard for this company every single day. Okay. And then by empowering other people and giving people growth, we went from solo agents to team leads to managing brokers. In the case of Edwin, Edgar, Andy, all becoming managing partners and stepping into roles, but they all earn that, right? It's based on performance and company impact.
Yeah.
And then you take somebody like Lori, who started out as the first admin, but has now trained 3 or 4 admins and assisted in opening 3 or 4 offices and giving people growth opportunity, empowering them to feel like they're valuable because they are, allows me to kind of quarterback at a different bird's eye view type of level.
Right.
Like, because all of those offices are manned by highly capable, high performing humans, I can bounce around to each office. I can go and take that trip and go better myself and hire a coach and come back and bring it to the people because all of my people support me. Right. You know, I went up there to support Andy, and that turned into a life-changing event for me.
Right.
And now that's turned into a life-changing event for everyone around us.
Yeah.
So I think it's really just being cognizant of the fact that I don't know everything and I need good people around me that can do the things that I'm not good at.
Right.
There are things that I suck at, and there are things that I'm great at. So I try to put things in place where the people that are doing what they're best at are operating at the highest level, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, we all handle certain aspects of the business, but we all communicate a lot too. That's something that people don't see, man. I probably got 10, 15 different group chats, at an ownership level, at a company executive level, at a employee level, because there's different conversations to be had at every level.
Yeah.
And I would probably attribute that organization and leadership ability to the Navy, no doubt.
Right.
A lot of how I run my business is also what I did in the Navy every single day. Yeah. So it translates heavily, but the difference is here, you have to operate with a little bit more wisdom and a little bit more empathy and a little bit more professionalism than the military. Yeah. You can't do your job. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have some couth and some great communication skills, because you deal with so many different people and you're not in a position of power.
Right.
I don't believe I'm in a position of power. I believe I'm in a position of influence. Yeah. I believe that I can help people reach their peak life, but I can't do it for you, and I have no responsibility to that. But if I try every day, that's all that matters to me. Right. So, but also, I'm very different than most. I wake up in the morning with a fire in my belly that I can't explain to people. Like, if you don't want to get up at 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning and conquer the world, we're not the same type of person.
Right.
And this year specifically, I buried my dad, so I used it as fuel. So that's the answer. I'm just hungrier than most people, man. Yeah. Like for real. So I just do go hard every day, but I'm humble enough to realize, man, I can't do this alone.
Right.
Or, man, I don't know how to do that. Or, man, you know, Edgar's really good at that, and Andy's really good at that, and Eric's amazing at that. And surround yourself with people that are good at the things you aren't,
Right.
that also believe in what you believe in, you'll never lose.
Right. And I seen that just in your presence here. And when we met one time in one-on-one, I seen that, and that's why, you know, that was one of the main reasons why I'm here. What you just said, because you don't know everything, and you're not that mentality. You do need others around you.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people, when they get in your position, they think they know everything and they don't need help.
That's because
But
life hasn't
you're humble
humbled.
enough to.
That's because life hasn't humbled them yet.
So
You know,
that's that right there is the ultimate.
Because
answer why
that
I'm
too,
here.
we could have gotten complacent several times building this thing. We could have been out here acting like there wasn't nothing left to do, but no, man, I've lost everything before.
Right.
You know, walking away from the Navy after almost 14 years and being a chief, that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
And when you do that and you have nothing after you gave something your whole life, like I appreciate what I have so much that I will never take it for granted and stop doing what I do until I decide to hang it up, you know? But that's the difference. Like, there's no silver spoon. There's no secret hack. Like, when you actually put your blood, sweat, and tears into something, you act different.
Yeah.
And because I've had it all before and lost everything, that changed my mindset on what was valuable.
Right.
Like, when I started not caring about the check or the money and I started caring about the people, then the money came.
Right.
Then the deals came. Then the business blew up. So, like, I feel in my heart that we're doing it the right way.
Right.
So that makes it easy to get up and keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, definitely.
When you see people that you served with in the military, or have struggled transitioning from the military, and now they're buying a mansion and they're driving their dream car and they're taking vacations 2-3 times a year. And you know that, like, that's where that's my return on investment.
Right.
The impact, like you said.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Well, I guess I told somebody, we did an interview, man, but I told them that I treat this like my family.
Right.
Because I grew up without one. Like,
Right.
So to me, and then even the family that I built and had when I left and joined the Navy and all that, like, my ex-wife left me.
Right.
I have shared custody of my kids. I get them half the time, you know? So when I don't have my kids, I just focus on my craft.
Right.
Because that was all I ever wanted, right? So, but now I'm remarried and she's a great stepmom to my kids, and we have a beautiful home and successful businesses, and my kids are happier and healthier than they have been in a long time. So,
Right.
but that was like, I can't fail. You shitting me? Yeah. What I come from to do what I had done already, 14 years of military service and a real estate career.
Right.
I made chief first time up, and I was making 6 figures here. Not necessarily here in Iron Valley, but in real estate, you know. To have all of that just ripped out from under you, like you ain't shit, you don't matter.
Right.
Start back at zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's different.
Right.
It's a different kind of fire, man.
I
you know,
Trust
and
me.
And there's always just seems to be something that pushes it over the edge. Like right after I signed, literally right after I hired a coach and started having these Friday meetings, and we started talking about putting training in place and stuff. I get the news that my dad died. Right. So I go up there, I handle that like a fucking boss. Like most people in my position wouldn't even have went there.
Right.
Much less paid for the venue and did it with class. You know, right. I went there with my wife. We dressed well. I spoke as basically the keynote at the end of the ceremony, even though, like, why? You know, but the real reason why was I wanted my sisters to understand that there is a man in this family carrying this name on, doing it different, you know. And I have a son, right, and a daughter, and they both bear my last name. So I'm the generational shift. That's my like go, you know.
Yeah, you're the one.
Absolutely.
You're the one.
So, yeah, man, that's a deep question. You know,
No. I mean,
it just is.
We gotta, as much as we're different, we have a pretty parallel life together. Like me and you,
a lot in common. Yeah,
a lot
for sure.
more than what we both know. So,
and also, I'm disciplined, man. Right. Like I'm pretty disciplined. It's some people can't get up every day and check the block on everything that they're doing. You know, I think that I'm pretty damn good at that. And if I miss something, I usually circle back. You know, I hold myself accountable.
Right.
And if I don't, I surrounded myself with a team that will.
Right.
You think Edgar, Edwin, Eric, or Andy, or even Lori aren't going to be like, hey, Mike, is this right? Hey, Mike, did we get that? Hey, you messed that up. I was 20 minutes late this morning.
Right.
I'm not perfect.
Right.
I just try. It's effort.
Yeah.
So
I think discipline's the biggest separator.
Couldn't agree more.
Difference between,
I posted it this morning.
That's
actually.
the difference between being good and great is discipline.
Yeah.
So,
you know, Mike Tyson had the saying that's been going viral about doing what you hate and acting like you love it.
Right.
I just spun it a little bit, like it's doing what you need to do, even if you don't want to.
Right.
I don't even attach a hate or love to it. I don't put emotion on the task or action required. To me, it's just it's there. Do.
Right.
Task is done. Task isn't done. There is no. I like the Kobe meme where he's like, "Job finished? Job not finished?" I don't think job finished.
Right.
Like where he's just answering this reporter like you sound like a clown, man. Like I got to win 4 games, bro. We're up 2-1.
Yeah.
This isn't over. Right. I think like that every single day. Like this is 0.0.
Right.
You know, like I posted we finally have the intro done for this podcast. We already have like 16 episodes, man.
Right.
But just to be able to post that intro, like that's a check, right? That's a check because now we get to drop episodes. And then people see, man, these motherfuckers, they got a video every week for 3 months straight. Yeah, that's because we've been putting in work. Yeah. We've been working 7 days a week for 2.5, 3 months straight.
Right.
That's why we have a new training program. That's why we have a podcast. That's why we have a podcast room.
Right.
But none of that happens without the whole team.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was doing something.
Right.
So that's how so much gets done because it's a team effort every single day. There's nothing happening at this company that all the owners and all the staff aren't on the same page about.
Yeah.
Because we meet every Tuesday. We put out meeting minutes. We put out action items. We have those group chats and those threads separated. So that's a secret, man.
Yeah.
The art of resourcefulness.
Right.
So, but that's all we have, man. We appreciate you coming in, and
I appreciate y'all having me.
Can't wait to see you sell a bunch of new construction and get that money up and go to PA, man.
Right.
Hope we can help you get there. I'm serious, like, because that's the whole point. That's your peak life is what does success look like to you?
Right.
What are your goals, and how can we help you achieve those goals?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but that's it, man. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.